Hello and welcome to a special episode of Uplift Black the Webseries. Today we are talking black hair, and I have a few guests with us today. Once again, I am Shelly Skinner, president of Uplift Black, and we're talking to people in our community. We're telling their stories. We're making sure that the community understands what black lived experiences are, and we're here to talk about black hair. We have Courtney Peters, our Director of Operations for Uplift Black, Mitchell Lefambois, hairstylist and entrepreneur. We also have Claire Morris, entrepreneur, store owner, all-around beauty queen. Welcome everyone to Uplift Black Hair episode. We also have a couple calling guests today, so we'll get to them a little bit later. I wanted to talk to each and every one of you about black hair. And the reason why is because it's quite the topic. I had a conversation recently with Mitchell where I stated that I found that the hair industry was the last industry that was okay with segregation. And that really, really bothered me. So I wanted to discuss with everyone what it's like to be in the hair industry, what it's like to have lived experiences with having black hair. So that's what we're talking about today. So Claire, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about what you do in the community and why you want to be on the show today.
Well, I own Claire Beauty Supply in downtown Barrie. We've been in Barrie since 2011, and we service the black community for their wigs, beauty product, hair extension, all your beauty supply needs that you can think of. And one of the struggles that black women have is their hair. It's very hard to maintain their hair, hard to find the right product for their hair. So when someone walked into Claire's Beauty and said, oh, my hair is so hard and it's so coarse, I don't know what to do with it. I want to throw a relaxer in it, because that's your first thing, you want to straighten it out. Then you're like, no, try a product. So we'll say, try something like a curl activator to moisture your hair, put some moisture in it, because as black people, we have a really dry hair, and we need a lot of moisture to keep our hair moist. So instead of putting a weave on, just care for your hair, put some product in it, and people are loving the fact that they don't have to go to Toronto to find these products, because they could find them at our store. And we try to cater for not just people with black hair. There's a lot of biracial people that come in and
ethnic hair.
Yes, and they don't know what to do with their hair. So again, there's products that we have for all different ethnic hair at Claire's.
Absolutely, I love it. I remember actually seeing your store, and I had already been in Barrie for a couple of years, and I drove by and I was like, that's a black beauty hair shop. And I was so excited that was available in our community. And walking in, it was everything that I grew up in Brampton, so and Toronto, so it was very easy for me to get access to products that were for black hair. But living here and going into the Walmarts, the Shoppers Drug Marts, where normally I would be able to find these products in Barrie, it wasn't in any of the shelves. So I mean, it was really hard because I didn't growing up in the GTA, and living in some bigger cities. I didn't realize how difficult it must be to be black outside of urban centers until I came here. So I think that's why I want to lead to you, Courtney, because you grew up in Barrie.
Yeah, I did. And so my natural hair is, I have an afro, and I have, because I remember at one point, all these numbers started to come out, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B. I was like, what? And people so what's your hair? I was like, this?
Yeah.
And there's you don't know what your texture is? I was like, it's curly.
Yeah.
It has kinks.
Your curl pattern.
I have an afro. I don't know. But it was, so it was weird. So yeah, I grew up with an afro, but at the age of 10, I begged to get my hair straightened. So at 10 years old was the first time I straightened my hair. And like those kind of chemicals should not be on a child. Should not even probably be on like a lot of people's hair, especially like what they were. They're a lot better now, but like back then, like they were horrendous. But like the fact that like I was like, no, I want straight hair because people just kept touching my hair. And they're like, oh my God, it's so soft, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like you just feel like and I'm like, I'm not an animal. I'm not a pet. Like, don't treat me like that. And then you have people touching, but then I realized as I'm growing up in this world, it doesn't matter how my hair is, people want to touch it. Like when I have my braids in, my extensions, they want to touch it. When I have my hair like straight, like they want to touch it. They just touch it less when it's straight. But there's like, oh my God, you can straighten your hair? Like, I didn't know that. Like, isn't it just frizzy? Like, anytime they just touch my hair. And like I just started this journey, and like luckily now we're in 2020 post like George Floyd, so people know not to touch my hair. And everyone's kind of like on guard, like they're like, but like you kind of see like they're like almost malfunctioning, like cannot touch hair.
Yeah.
Like what did like all these like white people do during quarantine lockdown? They're like, I haven't touched black hair in so long. What do I do?
That's actually a good segue into you, Phil, because as a stylist, I mean, it's kind of your job to touch people's hair, and it's actually really you're intrigued by the art of hair and styling and everything. So tell me, how have you been able to, like, first of all, why are you here? I know why I brought you here, but why are you at this panel with us talking about black hair, and what was it like for you?
Well, for myself, I have been in the hair industry for 14 years now. I am an entrepreneur. I run my own business, and I am a self-sustained sole proprietor of my business. And hair in general has been my passion my whole life. It does not matter what your ethnicity is, what the texture of your hair is. I've always been fascinated by people's hair. Just to go on with what Courtney was saying, just because you're black doesn't give you consent to touch your hair. It's just like when I do drag. I'm a drag performer. I'm hitting my mic. I wear weaves. Miss Claire, my lovely friend here, has helped me many times. I've gone to her store to buy some nice lace front wigs and things like that for my performance. And just like drag is not consent, when I have my weave glued to my head and pinned in my hair, do not touch my hair.
Exactly.
Don't touch my hair. I'm sorry. But one of the reasons why I am here today is to discuss from a Caucasian person's perspective of what is lacking in the community of hair to accommodate our fellow brothers and sisters of color and their natural texture of hair.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you so much. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, so you worked at, so you've been an educator, so you've worked, teaching styling.
Yes.
What did you find was missing, or what did you think was important to be taught when it came to ethnic hair?
So we in hair school in general, when you are in basic hair school, you literally learn the minimal of everything. You learn the basics of how to cut, the basics of how to do a roller set, the basics of everything. When it comes to working with ethnic hair, it's the basic of basic of basic. Like we literally skim across. Yes, we learn about braided hair extensions. Yes, we learn how to do twists and knots and things like that. But the things that we don't get taught is how to care for black hair. We don't get taught how to cut and style black hair. We don't get taught how to properly, if somebody wants a blowout to smooth out their hair instead of doing a relaxer, that's something that is not taught.
Exactly.
I taught chemical texturizing and chemical relaxing. Yes, part of my section was to talk about the base relaxers that most women of color use because their hair is a lot stronger and a lot coarser to smooth out their hair. But that in itself was this much. It's a very minimal amount that you learn. And again, not having A, the models, B, the mannequins to work on. I know myself, I had to request a specific curly mannequin for myself to show my students how to do things. But unfortunately, because of the cost factor, those were not a part of the kit that came with everything was you got a straight long mannequin, you got two of them,
content,
and you got a straight long hair with a beard man, and that's all you get. So it's really important, I think, that going forward, because of the community that we live in, because of the fact that we live in a multicultural, biracial, multiracial society, we as stylists need to take it upon ourselves to help bring this to the forefront and say, listen, our education needs to be updated. Our education needs to go further because
it needs to be inclusive.
It needs to be inclusive. Everything needs to be inclusive. You know, we work so hard on trying to make safe spaces for people for who they are in general. But when a person of color, I don't know how many times I've talked to people of color, and when you walk into a salon to get your hair done, it's like walking in and going to like almost get executed, like that feeling of like nausea and like, oh my God, are they gonna know what to do with my hair? Oh my God, am I gonna be embarrassed? And like, I've talked to you all, I've talked to many of my other friends, and like you've left in tears leaving salons because either A, they say they know how to do your hair and they mess it up, or B, they don't know how to do it and they basically deny you entry into their salon.
But like with B, sometimes they don't even let you speak. Like I walked in like in 2014, I fully like shaved my head. So all I needed was a barber to shave my head. And it doesn't matter what hair texture you have. If you have clippers, you can shave a head.
Absolutely.
Like we've seen that. So like I walked into a barber shop. The man is literally has clippers in his hands, and he's like, "We don't do your hair here." I wasn't even like, "Hi." I was like, "But I just," and he's like, "We don't do your hair." And I was like, so then I like left, and I was like, okay. And then I walked around, and then it's like, but I was like, I need to shave my head.
Just wanted a buzz cut.
And I was like, I wanted like the lines. I was like, I can shave it, but I can't clean it up. Like I don't have that skills, especially on myself.
And then the back and everything.
And like with a mirror kind of thing, I'd be like, But yeah, I was just like, what? And then eventually, like the fourth person finally just listened to what I wanted to say. And I was like, hey, I want my head like shaven. He's like, oh, like a little bit. I was like, no, like completely gone. And he was so excited, but he was like, are you sure? And in that moment, it had nothing to do with my skin color. He was just like, I see a woman, she wants short hair. Let's be real. How many times have you cut hair? And there's like, what did you do? So he was just like, are you sure you actually want it? So it had, like, he was like, and I was like, and like, I got taken aback, but I was like, wait, am I just in the Matrix? Like he's one, listen to what I said. And now he's asking me,
am I
like,
okay?
Because I have a lot of women, they say they want short hair. I give them short hair. They don't want short hair. So then he just treated me like a client.
And that's all anybody wants. My goal for myself personally through this whole journey is to make myself an inclusive stylist and educate myself better so I can have people sit in my chair and have that same comfortability knowing that I am listening to them, I'm understanding what their needs and their wants are, and I'm able to offer that service to them.
Absolutely. Now, we need to unpack. You shaved up all your hair. Why? Yeah, we need to talk about that.
Yeah, like I don't even, because I've always wanted long hair because you want what you see. What do you see on TV, magazines? You see long, straight hair. So I always wanted long hair. So like I never thought I would ever want to cut my hair, let alone shave my hair. And then it was like 2013, I was going through like a transition. And I knew I was like going to like Fiji for 6 months to volunteer in a couple months. And in October, it just like popped into my head. It's like, shave your head, shave your head. And it would, and then I started to look at like all these like beautiful black women that have bald head and like all these and like blah, blah, blah. And I like kind of try to look for people that like had similar facial features to me.
To see how
so I could like really kind of see. And I told one friend and she's like, yes, 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 do it. She's like, can I be there? And I was like, no. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it the last day I leave Australia. So if I don't like it, the people who meet me for 6 months have no idea that I even have hair. And so I was like, I can't do it in Barrie. Not doing it in Barrie. I was like, I can't even do it in Australia. So I literally did it the last day. And like a couple of my friends thought, they had no idea I was doing it because I couldn't tell people. And I had one friend come with me, so she got to experience me being denied. And then so like I shaved it and it felt so liberating. And then I was living my life and I was meeting these people and I had to convince them I had hair. Like I showed them pictures of me with hair and there's like, no way,
that's
no way, no way.
That's a wig, that's a wig, right?
Whereas like in reality, all the people who like knew me, they're just like, what happened to your hair? Where's your hair? But like, I loved it, and people like, you rock it. Like, I felt so liberated. Like, it was so freeing, but it was just like, yes. And then the only person who actually touched my hair was me. Yeah. No one wanted to touch
your hair.
Like, I was like to people, I was like, touch it, because it felt so good to me.
It does. It feels really good.
It's so
when you
good,
cut your
but like,
hair
for
down.
once, no one wanted to touch my hair. No one wanted to touch me.
You were like, Sheila, put your hands in it, give it a massage.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, like to what you were saying, like how it's so empowering it is for you. I think that every woman, at least one time in their life, at least one time in their life, it changes you. But
Yes.
to release that air of quote unquote femininity and what we perceive as femininity, which is in our hair, to relieve yourself of that and just live that free. I can't talk. I love nothing more than when I see, especially women of color, when they shave their head right down.
Yeah.
And they do so much with their makeup and their jewelry and their outfits, and they show their femininity through who they are as a female,
Yeah, my hair doesn't
and not
tell me.
just their hair, right?
Your hair as well.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Yeah, no, I definitely would recommend it. And then, it was amazing.
I mean, I had an opportunity to cut my hair back about 3 years ago. I think it was now 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
And like for me, it was everything. You know, as somebody who was, from the Caribbean, Indian Black, my hair was almost like, I grew up in Brampton, and people would know that I was Indian mixed because of my hair. And it was almost like it was a big deal. It was like, oh yeah, you don't know my experience because you at least have coolie hair or mixed hair, and that's the terms that they would use, right? Which is actually a derogatory term. And so I guess I felt like I should love my hair because the black people who didn't have mixed with Indian would always talk about how nice my hair was, but I also had a mother who didn't really understand black hair, right? So she would always make kind of comments about about how tough my hair was, about how difficult it was to comb, and it was at a very young age we went and we got our hair relaxed. And relaxing is this chemical straightening of your hair, so it's the opposite of perming, right? And it gave a nice smooth look to it, and everybody talked about how beautiful I was. All of a sudden, and I grew up in a house where I was darker skinned and my hair was more Negro than my sibling and other people in my family. So all of a sudden I was getting all these incredible compliments at like 6, 7, 8 years old about how beautiful I was. So of course I became addicted to straightening my hair because it made me look more beautiful. But it took so long. It was such a process. My hair texture, the thickness of it, everything changed. And I didn't like what I saw. I was constantly obsessed with how smooth it looked. I hated to go out in the rain. I hated to swim. My whole childhood was ruined because I needed to
get it wet.
I couldn't get it wet, And that's all the things that, that I wanted to do was play, right? And and then when I went into the corporate world, I was told like if I did just kind of wash and go, so my hair was still relaxed, but it wasn't straightened because I didn't use a chemical straightener. So it had a relaxed curl to it. It wasn't as tight, the curls. Yep. Then I was told by my managers, my boss, that it wasn't as professional looking or nice as when I straightened. So when I didn't have my natural hair. So even within that industry, I was told that my hair wasn't professional unless it was straightened or I had added weave and made it longer and that whole look. Basically made it look more Indian.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and it pleased, people in my family too to see me. Like they would comment on how great I looked, especially if it was long and,
How beautiful it is.
Yeah. You'll see right now that I have my hair braided. This is the first time ever in my whole life. Because I grew up thank you. Because I grew up believing that only Negro Black people needed to braid their hair. And because I had Indian inside of me, I didn't have to braid my hair. I could, so it was like almost like this, I was better than right? And wearing braids meant that, you know, that I couldn't have my hair a certain way. So all that negativity. So 3 years ago, I was going through a lot and I was doing some transitions in just a lot of my life. And I said to myself, I was done relaxing my hair. I was done. I was never going to do it again. And I walked in and I asked to get it cut. And they did check in to see if I was okay. They did. They, even though I had previously made the appointment and told them, they double checked when I got there to make sure I was okay. And they cut my hair. And it was the scariest and the best thing I've ever done in my life.
I remember that.
Yes.
I remember
Yes.
you walking. Yes, I remember.
To see you. I was like, what can I? Because now I almost had all
Needed
the products that I
I
use
was
for
gonna say,
natural
quick little
curly hair.
sidebar, that cute little afro that you were sporting when you first got your hair cut
I
was
know.
so cute.
I
It
know.
was so cute.
You know, and it made me feel so good that, and the thing is that the attention that I got was really different. Like, you know, I also, you know, for a long time, you know, I got my self-worth from other people giving me attention as opposed to, you know, feeling beautiful within myself. So the attention changed. So, you know, I guess I didn't get much attention from, you know, straight cis guys, but you know, like women, other black sisters were like, girl, you are fine, you are looking good, you are rocking it. And you know, and my gay friends were like, girl, yes, work it,
It's
right?
Embrace
Queen,
it.
Queen's
Yes.
uplifting queen.
Queens
That's
uplifting
exactly,
queens.
That's exactly what
Exactly.
it is. Yeah.
You were uplifting me, and it just changed my whole world. And I'm rocking braids now because I'm actually going to be going into locks. So I'm doing the braid to lock journey, and braids were important for me to start with first because I needed to do it.
Yeah.
I needed to rock the braids, and I love it, and I love the look, and I'm just going to continue into the lock journey, and I'm so excited to just kind of like go into another phase of my life because I'm an artistic person. I like change. You're never going to see Shelly in the same hair. That's just not who I am. But it's nice that I can rock my natural hair and love it. And so I do completely agree with you, Mitchell. If everybody can do that just once in their life, I think it would make such a big difference.
And I think now a lot of Black people are embracing their own natural hair.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just going natural, not doing a weave, not doing a chemical, because it's very hard, especially even for the kids. I find my daughter, she's 7 now, and a couple of years ago, she come home and she's like, Mommy, I don't like my hair, it's too curly. And I'm like, baby, your hair is beautiful. And she's like, no, it's not. And then she started telling me about her friends at school, how straight and beautiful their hair, and can you please just straighten it for me? And she was so obsessed with that. And I'm like, baby, your hair is so beautiful. One year, she was at my store, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, we're gonna straighten her hair. So for the first time, not chemically, just blow it out and straighten it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So she went to school, and I said, baby, make sure if it rains, go inside.
Yeah.
Because if it wet, then that's it. So she went to school, and she came home. Of course, it got wet, so it went into a big afro. But
And then it looks worse. You said it was actually curly.
But for that moment, she was so happy. She was like, Mommy, can you do it again? My teacher said I was so beautiful, you know, and that made me feel really sad because they never say when she's at school with her curly hair how beautiful she looked. But the one time she came with her hair straight, how beautiful your hair look. It's so long. Oh my goodness. I'll come to get it so long. You know, all that attention on just one straighten. So that now make her feel like, well, Mommy, see, everybody love my hair, so it should be straight all the time. When no, your hair should not be straight because that is not your natural hair. Your hair is beautiful when it's curly because that's your natural hair.
It's who you are naturally, yeah.
And that's what a lot of parents are not teaching their children, to love their hair, embrace their hair, help them on the journey to just get in touch with this is your natural hair. You don't need to put in extension. You don't need to put in a weave. Just use natural products for your hair.
And I'll say 2 things to jump in on that. But it's also parents don't know that themselves too.
That's true. That's true. They're not educated.
they're not-
Especially
they
parents
don't
from
get
like our parents and our
Generational.
generation.
Yes.
Like we
they
can
don't
do
know
different
that
to our
either. And
Yes.
like I grew up with like my white side of the family, whereas like my mom actually let us have freedom with our hair. So like I didn't have to convince her, but it would have been like she should have said no about like the relaxing kind of thing. But it's one of those things that like everyone was doing it, and like for instance, I got it done by a Black woman that was like a deep family friend. Like she's like my
And you're way
godmother
too
kind of
young
thing.
for that.
So it's just like I went to someone we trusted who like does it, who's in the industry, but that's like when like Black
that
women
was
start
the industry.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
that's
you
how
learn
Black
to-
women made their
They-
money.
Right.
You know, like you know, if you were a hairstylist, like if you weren't relaxing, you weren't making any money.
anything.
Yeah,
You
like
were
that's
doing
what everybody.
installs,
Yeah,
you were doing
Exactly.
Yeah.
weave, track and sews, like all that stuff. That's where
The
Black
money
women make
their
their
money.
Yeah.
And you're right, because even in Barrie, there's a lot of mixed biracial children. And I get this every day. What do I do with my child hair? It's different from mine. Well, my shampoo doesn't work. It's dry, it's rough. Now it's into a dreadlocks and I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
You know, so they're not educated on how to take care of the hair because it's different. It's a different texture. They're not, oh my God, really? We need to put grease in there?
Yeah.
Yes, you have to oil it. You have to use
why
a
is my
moisture
child's
shampoo.
hair so big when I brush it after their shower?
Don't brush
But it's all of those things. Like people come
Yeah.
to me too, and I'm like, I don't know. Like,
We're gonna bring a guest into the conversation. We have Daphne Francis. Daphne is an educator and works out in the Georgian College, and we met through an advisory committee that we both sit on, and you have the most beautiful locks, and you're beautiful. So we kind of decided to kind of connect and invite you onto the show. So Daphne, welcome to Uplift Black, the Black Hair Panel show.
Hello to everyone.
So Daphne, tell us a little bit about yourself and talk to us about your lock and your lock journey.
Sure. So I am a professor at Georgian College. I teach in the nursing, health, and wellness department at Georgian. I am a nurse by background, and I am Caribbean Canadian also. Similar to you, Shelly, I do have Caribbean background, but I've lived in Canada for quite a while. Actually also lived in the States, so I've lived between Canada, the U.S., and the Caribbean for a number of years. And I was interested in being a part of this because, as you said, I have locks. I'm a professional in education with locks. I've had locks for over 21 years right now. And so a lot of my life, I've gone into environments with the only person with locks, right? So I think I love what you're saying about the natural community and natural hair community, and that, a lot of people are accepting it more, but I think locks are still not necessarily embraced in the same way. And there's a lot of stereotypes that people have with regards to locks still. So I just like to come into the environment and just be like, hey, this is me. I'm a professional. I've also been the only Black student in courses and in grad school. So I know what it's like to be the only one in many different environments. So I just want to be a part of the discussion and just to showcase, the fact that, yes, you can face challenges in terms of getting jobs. I think I definitely have encountered that in my time as a professional. But I've always been persistent, and I've been able to get to where I am just because of being persistent. So yeah.
Amazing.
Have you ever experienced any discrimination based on your locks?
I'm sure I have. I mean, I think it's interesting because I don't ever go into any environment expecting it, right?
Yeah.
But I've had job interviews and not gotten jobs where I'm highly qualified, that I was highly qualified to get. And it probably was because of my loss. Again, I've lived in the U.S., so I for almost 6 years between California and New York. So I, was a lot of times the only Black student in the class and the only person with locks. So there was this double thing happening, and I had to do a lot of explanations about my hair and the touching issue. Courtney, I can understand that. And so I've definitely had to say, please don't touch my hair, and I mean, a lot of times I've noticed that, and I understand that I'm so used to me being who I am, that I don't ever think about it. But for people who've never experienced or seen someone with a hair like the hair that I have, it's a new thing, and I guess you want to touch it, experience it, but not no, don't do it with my hair. So I definitely understand that that whole experience and having that battle of having to explain to people that you can't just touch my hair without my permission.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
Because you go
but
to touch
I'm
them, and what do they
definitely.
do?
They're like, oh my God, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I definitely have incorporated my martial arts experience in the
Yeah, the old Matrix. Like,
yeah, the Matrix style move there. But yeah, I definitely had to do a little bit of that. My reflexes have been really, really put into practice. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. And, being in Barrie, I just moved to Barrie, not maybe less than a year. And so I'm really learning this environment and understanding, the landscape of what people's responses are to me. When I walk into a store or a pharmacy, I mean, I've definitely had the experience of being followed, which was interesting to me because even when I lived in the States, I hadn't really encountered that. So it was interesting for me to have that experience here, and it was so blatant.
Yeah.
So, and so it's interesting. It's been an interesting journey, and I expect there will be more things on the horizon. Especially when I introduce myself and I say I'm actually Dr. Francis. I have a PhD. So that also throws people off a bit, because sometimes they're not expecting this package to present all those different aspects, right? So it's interesting. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
people are always very quick to cast judgment on what they see on the outside. I was having this conversation earlier. I'm a professional person. I dress professionally when I'm in my day-to-day, but when I'm out and about on my relaxed days, I wear jeans and a hoodie and a ball cap. I'm heavily tattooed, and there has been many a times that I have been followed through stores and looked at. But the difference is that I am a Caucasian person. I can put on a business suit and whatever, and I'm not going to get looked at. I can't. You people of color, like all my friends of color, they cannot take off their blackness.
No.
You cannot take off your blackness, and that is the one thing that people need to stop, and take a second and look and learn to listen to people, get to know people, understand where people are coming from before you cast judgment. The other thing I wanted to touch on really quickly, that she was talking about being up in the United States and being the only person of color in your classes and possibly being passed over for jobs because of your locks. I was actually just talking with Claire today. I was reading an article today on the Crown Law that was just instated of July of 2019 in California that prevented people of color to be discriminated against because of wearing their natural hair.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was reading a very sad statistic that 80% of women of color in the professional industry will be more likely to Caucasianize their hair, to smooth out their hair, to put on a weave, and do that to fit in with the quote unquote natural norm of what business society is supposed to be, and that is not right at all, at all.
Exactly, precisely. And I've always been someone who goes against the grain. Like I knew very early that I didn't want to have relaxed hair. And I knew this because, I guess I did, and I actually did have relaxed hair for like maybe 9 months. And it was the worst time of my hair journey ever. And I knew very much that immediately so I actually had the same experience of cutting my hair off and shaving it off. And from that shaved head experience, I started my locks. And so I've, always just realized that this is just who I am. I love the way my hair is. I had parents, I grew up with parents who had afros for a long time. My dad actually had an afro he never got rid of his afro from the 70s. He continued to have this big.
Awesome.
He embraced it. So I had that example of someone who was just comfortable being who they were. And so once I started my locks, of course I got resistance from family members, from people saying, what are you doing? Like, what is going on? And I was like, this is who I am. And I'm never going to change that for anything else. And so I think I definitely had great examples through my parents, even though I did have a little bit of resistance from my mom in the beginning because she was the principal of a high school. And there's these expectations, and people think that you should have your hair relaxed and everything be straight. But I definitely knew that that was never for me. And so I'm been on this journey 20 plus years, and I don't plan on changing it anytime soon for anything.
Amazing.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
Wonderful.
Very
That's
good for
awesome.
you.
This is a good segue to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about different types of hair, extensions, weaves, because that's also a huge part of black hair in the Black community. We, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to introduce another call-in guest when we get back. Thank you. Welcome back to a special episode of Uplift Black. We're talking black hair, and we've got some incredible merchandise on the table here, courtesy of Claire's Beauty. So Claire, before we talk a little bit about what's on the table, I wanted to introduce Lon Ray Tunji Ajay. Hi, Lon Ray, how are you?
How Shelly
How
and
are you?
Courtney and everyone. Nice having me on the show.
Yeah, so
Hello, everybody.
we have Claire and Mitchell with us as well. And we just wanted to bring you onto the show because you are the owner of your own all-natural cosmetics business, and you run out of Simcoe County as well, right?
Wonderful. Yes, that's so true. And nice to meet you, Claire and Mitchell, as
Nice
well.
to
Nice to meet you as
too.
well.
Yeah. So Henri, tell me a little bit
Yes.
about the business that you have.
Okay, so my husband and I in 2002 decided that we wanted more. You know, you're at that stage of your life that you're okay. He was an optician, I was a hearing aid specialist. He has his background in economics, mine business administration. We owned at that time a hair beauty supply and hairdressing outlet out of St. Clair area in Toronto, but we wanted to do more, especially because some of the clientele we had at that time were also asking us for more natural products. They're looking for natural alternative in skincare, in hair care, and so we felt that where do we start? Why do we do that? And we went back to source. We went back to Nigeria, West Africa, and we brought about shea butter. We started with shea butter. We brought about shea butter back into Canada. At that time, I can tell you, not many people knew what that was. And we started to give it to people. Some people had skin conditions. Some just had, I mean, they still have beautiful skin, but they just wanted something that's more natural. And some had issues with their skin, psoriasis, eczema, and they're looking for a more natural alternative to support their skin care. And so we started to give it to them, and we realized they're coming back and they're very happy. Now also we're like, okay, what about wash? And we introduced the black soap into more like a shampoo kind of a form. And we started to give it to our customers, and they were very happy with it as well. So from there came the concept of, hey, we can actually expand this and do more. And that was what gave birth to All Naturals Cosmetics. But I can tell you it wasn't easy. We had to wake up early in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, stand in the subways of Toronto, giving free samples and saying, try this out. We had to look for newspapers like at that time, Metro Toronto newspaper and similar newspapers that people do read and gravitate towards when they're going to work, to promote ourselves and what we do and what this product can do for you. So I remember one time we spent about, I think about 30,000 in one ad with City TV, and for a small business, that's a lot of money. And we didn't even get one call back with all that money. So I mean, we've done. It's been a journey. But I can tell you that we got a breakthrough with newspapers like Metro News. They did a beautiful editorial. We didn't even have to pay for this. And trade shows were a big ones for us, right?
Yes, sure.
We did a lot of trade shows, and I've spoken in so many health shows. And so I think those are the things that helped us when we first started to really get some kind of a ground into this business. Again, yes, it's natural, it's great, it's beautiful for black skin, but also for whole skins, right? So we were able to also target the health food, movement, right? And put our products in the health food stores because
Yeah.
people who are health conscious, who just doesn't want a shampoo that costs $1.99 in the Dollarama, but
Yeah.
want a shampoo that is natural with natural ingredients, are the ones that actually, love our products too, right? So we target the health food stores as well.
Amazing.
Wonderful. So what was it
So
like, just being in the black hair industry and the cosmetic industry and, and then coming to Barry and being in Barry and running your business here?
okay, so
That question says it all right there.
That's why I asked these questions.
it, it was not easy. I'm telling you that. We moved to Barrie about 10 years ago. Um, and number one, I remember there weren't so many black people, even 10 years ago in Barrie.
Yeah, it has changed.
And I remember even, people will drive by, and I know a few people will come in because again, we don't really do retailing. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. We will make the products, we will ship them to distributors who sells them in stores. So be
Yeah.
it health market or general mass market, some of our items are in selected Walmarts or Shoppers Drug Mart or Pharma Plus. So we kind have that, at least that helped us because we're not looking for individuals to actually come in and buy the product. We're looking for people who wants to buy in bulk and resell, right?
Yeah.
So in Barrie, to be honest with you, we don't have that local market even up to now. Our market is more mass and more kind of Canadian wide kind
Wide.
of a market. But I can tell you, coming to Barrie 10 years ago, it was a little bit strange because we coming
Yeah.
from areas like Toronto, Newmarket, even Newmarket has more black people 10 years ago, and coming to an environment that's, when you see another black person, you're like, hey, hi, I'm so happy.
So true.
Me. And,
We call them sightings, Michelle Newton. We're like,
and
sighting.
yeah, exactly. And a few people that will come in and say, "What do you guys do there?" And you tell them, "Oh, you're in skincare." Oh, okay. Really? Like you in that space? And I can tell you, even in trade shows, people are they're not telling you, but looking at you like, is that really where you should be? It's unspoken, but it's said because you're there with the big guys and they know your color and so on. And especially when I
Yeah.
present myself, I'm not even a man. I'm a woman, and it's like, really, what really drove you into that? Why did you decide to get into manufacturing? Number one, like,
Yeah, like this
really?
idea that because it's not just retail selling. It's you're actually the manufacturer of this product. And here's the thing: you're a manufacturer. You have a well-to-do business running out of our community. Are you involved in the business community here at all? Does Barrie know that you are a vital part of their business community? And that's the importance of this visibility and having this show and having you come on. That's why I wanted you to come and speak, because it is important that we know that we have this type of market here, and we should be promoting it and promoting our black businesses in our community. And that's why we have Claire's Beauty here as well. And so I'm really happy that you're here to talk to me about your experiences and to let us know that you are running your business, a very reputable business inside of Barrie, to the market all across Canada. So that's something to be proud of, and I'm proud that you're here representing our community.
I am really proud to be here and be a part of the Barrie community. And I remember when I first moved to Barrie and I met one of the politicians here, and the individual said to me, "You're African. Are Africans in Barrie?" And
Oh
I'm
my
like, that's coming
goodness.
from somebody
Sounds about,
representing us. And I'm like,
I'm sorry. I apologize upon all white people. I have to leave right now.
Did I say that out loud? Sounds about
You
white.
did, you did,
Okay.
you did.
But you know what though? When people speak like that, I think it's just out of limited knowledge. They don't know. It's about ignorance. And I said, yes, Africans are everywhere. And and we are all Africans. This is where, you know, I mean, I don't want to go into history and how God created everybody, but I know that our
We all
origin
came
is
from Africa.
Yeah,
African.
he said
So
it.
when you say to me, if Africans are here, you know, it's like really in this day and age. So
Yeah.
again, I'm very proud of what you're doing, Courtney and Shirley. When I heard you guys at the last meeting that I was part of last week, I said, well, this is great to really bring out our community and showcase our community. And Claire, you're doing such a wonderful work,
Oh,
promoting,
thank
you know,
you.
Black hair and the
Yeah.
business that you do in this community. I think it's all very, very important. And I think bringing ourselves out to the limelight and letting the community knows that we are here, we are part of the commerce, we are part of
We
what makes this
are.
community
Yeah,
grow.
absolutely.
It's very, very important. So, you know, thank you for giving all naturals even this opportunity to be part of your program today, right? So
Perfect. Yeah, and and
we're
I want to thank the
we're
city of
we're
Barrie. We're here
embarrassed.
because the city of Barrie is allowing us to be here. They're working to be more culturally diverse, and we're doing this as part of Barrie Culture Days. So we have to give a little shout out to the city for taking that step to let us have this conversation on their platform. So thank you, City of Barrie.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's about time. And then also, what I also want to say, what's really important is the fact that, you mentioned earlier that, there wasn't any Black people here. And I'll tell you, that's something that I said when I first came here, and boy, was I wrong. There's a Black community that exists within Barrie that has been here for a very long time. And the problem is they haven't been visible. Because they didn't have a space for them. They didn't feel like they were part of a community. So they spent their time and their money outside of Simcoe County.
Yes.
And and this is where we're going to change. We are vital members of this community. We are here. We're spending our dollars. We're paying our taxes, and we deserve to be part of the conversation. So that's kind of what this is all about. So thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And I hope you'll stay on while we chat a little bit more. But we're going to talk a little bit about, so we did talk a lot for the first half of this show about, maybe even felt like we were shaming. And I think Courtney mentioned that when it comes to natural hair versus, synthetic hair, or just not your natural hair. And here's the thing, that's not what we're doing at all. What we're saying is, as a community, we are coming, there is a lot more self-love happening within our community, and that's really important. And but we also want to recognize that your hair, your crown, you're allowed to be free and creative with that. That's part of creative expression, and a lot of people use their hair for creative expression. There's also a lot of people that we have to understand may not be able to grow hair for certain reasons, medical conditions. So wigs and weaves are a part of how they feel good about themselves. So we're also really thankful that we have shops like Claire's Beauty offering a selection of products. So I'm going to let you and Mitchell take over because you guys have lots of experience with this stuff.
Well, as you can see, your Regina here on the table.
Yeah. That's the name of
That's the name of this lady, right? And you notice the way now that they make wigs, it's so natural. She have like a really nice layered cut.
nice shape.
Right, nice shape.
This came, you didn't cut this.
Oh no, this came just like
Right out of
this.
the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, right out of the bag. You see the bang? If you could see, like, there's a natural part here, so it looked like your own hair scalp.
Yeah.
So it does not look like a wiggy. Before your grandmother wig, going to church on Sunday, it looked like a big hat on top of your head. Now they're making them so natural that you could just slap and go.
Yeah.
Well, not
Right.
even just that though. I've been finding like a lot of the research that I've been doing, it's not even just the part, it's wherever you section the hair on the cap, it's naturally sewn in, so it
Nice.
looks like it's real
hair. And that's where the lace wig come in. So this girl now, she's not a lace wig. This is just a regular wig with a band.
Yeah.
So if you go with something like this, or even Evelyn over there, this is a lace wig.
Okay.
So as Mitch was saying that, here, it's better to show.
Yeah, what is the difference between a
Right.
regular wig and a lace wig?
So like a hard front or a non-lace wig is something that just sits on. It's a hair piece. You strap it in. You can pin it to keep it secure. But a lace front actually models your own natural hairline.
hairline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So here is a lace wig.
Okay,
Right.
turn it
So here is the lace wig. You see how natural this is. So this part is the lace that you'd cut off. See, it have
You cut off based on
yes.
on your own natural hairline.
Yes, so you cut it right around to the hairline. So when it sit on the head now, all you're seeing is that natural part. And then, as Mitch was saying, you could part it in whatever direction you want. If you want to just wear it back, you can. If you want to part it to the side, then you can. So you could do whatever. So something like this, it's not human, but it's a human blend.
Yeah.
So it have synthetic fiber and human fiber in there. So you could actually curl it, you could flat iron it, style it, you just won't be able to color it.
Okay.
Yes. So again, if you want to install something like this, it's very easy. We got to be glue over hair. It's all it is. It's a gel. You put it around the hairline, hold it down for a little bit. Voila. You could go. Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. It won't move.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes. So people.
What you use?
I use
Yes.
a lot of that, yeah.
Yes. Yes. When you put that.
Why do
even-
they come to small? What do they?
That's
Oh no,
it,
that's
just
a
the
travel.
yeah,
That's a
the
travel.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a travel.
No, I use the got
Don't
to
they know
be
black people
the
have
got
freeze
to be
spray?
spray,
Yeah,
the
there's a
big yellow
freeze spray,
can,
yeah.
and you get right in there and you cover your eyes for like
Yeah.
all whatever, and you just
Yes.
spray that in there.
And it literally freezes. It's not going anywhere. It freezes. And you want to go to a party. I mean, even today you decide, you know what? I feel like I want to be blonde. You don't have to color your hair blonde.
Yeah.
You just get a blonde lace wig,
Yeah.
freeze it on.
Have some fun for the night.
Have some
Yeah.
fun for the night. And then these are good because you just take it off and it's just a little bit of oil
Yeah.
or a glue remover that you use. And
I use straight coconut oil.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
use just coconut oil for my makeup remover and for my glue remover.
Yep.
And I use, like, as I said, I use lace front glue, but I also use the Got You Be spray.
Spray.
So like and I use glue stick as well.
so that it's
Yeah.
there.
So
It's
I
not
glue
going
stick
anywhere.
the side of my hair and then glue over top of that. So the coconut oil gets that right
Right
off.
off.
That
Right.
glue stick is quite the thing. For a while, my daughter was gluing down her brows,
Brows.
so she could
Draw them on. Yeah.
until she finally begged me to be able to just shave them right off, and I was like, but your body, your life.
Exactly.
So I let her shave it off. So now
Yeah.
she just paints them on. But like, you know, that's kind of the beauty of the creativity of hair and being able to have access. You also have like extensions here, different types of fusion and tape
tape
extensions.
in.
Hair's supposed to be
Then you
just
have
like
the
an
clip.
accessory to
Yeah.
express yourself.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
It's not
Yeah.
who you are. It's like
Yeah.
what hair is defined, and going back to the topic of Africa, if you look at African, the Dinka tribe, they are the men of the tribe are the ones who adorn themselves to make themselves attractive to women, and they do these big dances, and they they cover their hair red with clay, and, you know what I mean? And it's really, really, really amazing, but hair in itself is a non-necessity. It is only meant for protection of our scalp and for adornment and fashion.
Yeah.
So we are meant to have fun with it. So if you want to throw on a weave, if you want to throw some extensions on, if you want to shave your head and like draw a picture of the Mona Lisa on the back of it, like whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah.
It's what makes you feel good.
Exactly.
And then a lot of people sometimes now, wig is not, people need it. I have a lot of people come in, they're going through cancer. And I mean, you just find out, you know what, I have cancer, now I have to shave my head. You know, the first thing, you need a wig.
Yeah.
Right? So it's good that we have wigs that gear to not just for fun, but somebody can wear it while they go through their chemotherapy,
Yeah.
waiting for their hair to come back.
Yeah.
There's some people come into Claire's and they have lupus, so their hair do not grow.
Yes. Alopecia totalis.
Exactly. So they need a wig or they need a toupee, just something so that they can feel good about themselves because just not having hair, like you don't know, it's like saying you don't know what you have until it's gone, right? So we have hair, so it's hard to say, oh, why does she need a wig? Well, you don't walk a mile in her shoe because when you don't have something, you want it, you miss it, you crave it.
That's exactly it.
And I chose to shape my hair.
Exactly.
I had the choice. I didn't
that's
have to
something
lose my
different.
hair.
That's exactly
and
what I
that's
was
the
about to
difference.
say.
That's
Mentality,
different
yeah.
than someone who I
Doesn't have
have
the choice.
someone walk into my store last week and she have a full head of hair and she wanted a hair piece and I'm like, well, do you want a ponytail? But she said, oh no, I want a ponytail, but she want to wear her hair down. But I'm like, you won't be able to wear it down with just a ponytail. And she was really scared to show me what was going on. Like the whole top part of her hair, it was all gone, bald completely.
Yeah.
She don't know why. Everything else was there. She didn't know what to do.
Female pattern baldness is actually a thing, and it is very, very, very heartbreaking.
Yes.
But no one talks about that.
No.
No.
Lonray, do you have like products? Do you have a lot of your clients? I guess because as a manufacturer, maybe you don't deal directly with the clients unless you're at the shows who use these products for things like alopecia and you know, just for care of the scalp, really, because that's something that is so important, and I don't think gets talked about enough.
It's not just the
It's
hair,
not
it's
just
the
your
scalp.
hair, it's the scalp, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't hear it.
Oh, I can't hear you. Give it a second. I think we'll get back to you.
Sorry, I had to
There we
mute
go.
my
That's all right.
microphone. So when it comes to a topic like alopecia, there is genetic alopecia whereby it's in the family and it's kind of inevitable. It will happen with time. You can delay it, right? With nutrition and all of those styles and using the right product, staying away from chemicals and all of that. But it will happen. But there are also alopecia that happens because we've been very abusive to her hair and to her system, right? So for those, so typically for alopecia that happens because of environmental stressors to our body, to our hair and stuff like that, those are easier to correct, right? Number one, stay away from chemical products. I know it's very hard. When you look at the ingredient on the bottles of most ingredients, it's all chemicals. But when you know that you have that tendency for alopecia, I always say, stay natural as possible. And we have those products that can support. Yes, I was once a hairstylist. I was a cosmetologist, so I know about these conditions. And so we have some products to support individuals with these, with these conditions. But I always say, if it's genetic, so your grandmother has it, your mother has it, you're beginning to have it, it means it's more genetic, it's in your family, and most likely you'll have it, but you can delay it or you can even reduce the extent of the alopecia. So rather than have a huge chunk, it could maybe be smaller. And so there are things that you can do. But the most important thing I always say is stay as natural as possible. It's
Yeah.
very, very important. Most of the products you have that are chemical based, now you can get the natural alternatives anyways, right? Cost may be different. For instance, I say to somebody, I have a client who wants their own line of shampoo, for instance, and they want natural shampoo that is very moisturizing, that is this and that, right? So I told them the ingredient that one will use as a manufacturer to make a regular shampoo you will buy in store, a drum of it, a 200 kilo drum, maybe costs $200. But when it's a natural alternatives, the same drum, but not the same ingredient. Of course, the natural alternative will cost us $2,000 plus. So you can see you couldn't sell them at the same price point.
Yes, you
And
can't.
that is a difference, right? So again, the natural alternatives are there, but
the-
again, you may have to pay a little bit more.
Absolutely.
It's always the conversation of apples and oranges.
Orange,
It's
absolutely.
like always. It's like you know, and again, like you were saying, if you're like you read something and it has all these chemicals in it, and if it's food, we're like, oh no, I'm going to put that back. I'm going to get this apple instead. So if you're not going to put those products into your body, why are you putting them on your body?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, Mitch, is it Mitchell?
Mitch or Mitchell, doesn't matter, yeah?
Okay, Mitchell, you're so right, because I know that there is one ingredient that you put in oils to prevent the oil from being rancid. It's in the oils in the grocery store that you eat. It's in your bread. It's in everything. And then the client said, well, I don't know if I want this ingredient in my oil for body care. I said, but it's in the food you're eating.
Yeah.
When you go to store, or even you go and get your salad in the restaurant, they give you dressing. It's right in there. It's in the fruit. It's not harmful for you. It's not harmful. So it can be in your oil product, so it doesn't go rancid. If it can go in their food, it can go in your body oil.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
And they didn't understand that, right? And sometimes some things may sound like chemicals. It doesn't mean they're chemicals. I just want to clarify that.
Yes,
Yeah.
So for
100%.
instance, we'll say shea butter. But every ingredient has what we call the inky name, which is what they want you to list on the bottles of your product. The inclination name for shea butter is Botrostropamum perky. If you say that now, one may say, oh, what chemical is that? But it's not a chemical. But I always say to people, it doesn't matter. When you look, you gotta be educated about what you're using.
About the ingredients.
If you buy any product, sit down your Google with your Google, Dr. Google, and type in everything and see what comes up, right?
Yes.
If it's an inky name for an oil or a butter or something, it will tell you.
Yes.
If it's a chemical, it'll tell you, and it'll tell you if it's toxic. It will also tell you the toxicity level, so you know this is something I should be using, you know, on my skin or or in my hair or anything. Because people always say, well, it's just your hair, but no, when you put something on your scalp is your skin,
It's
and it
absorbed.
is permeable,
Exactly.
which
Absorbs
means it absorbs what you
Yeah.
put on your scalp.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful with all of those things.
Yeah,
100%.
especially because what's under our scalp? Our brain.
brains, yeah.
Like, why are we putting harsh chemicals so close to our
One of
brain?
the-
Into our
One
scalp
of the
and into
biggest
our
things I
brain.
see in people like looking for natural products is they want it to be paraben free, but people don't realize you need to have parabens to keep shelf life. So I
Yes.
also use an all natural product in my styling. I'm a Kevin Murphy stylist,
Yeah.
and so all of our products are all natural. But it's a food grade paraben that's in it to keep its shelf life. The shelf life may only be 6 months or a year. But that is in there to keep that shelf life, to keep that product good for those 6 months or a year. So people need to also educate themselves on what's a good,
Paraben.
a good chemical and a bad chemical. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, really do your research when you're looking at products.
And also the shelf life. That's what you just talked a little bit about that. Like so, like if you have product that's sitting in your cupboard for years and years, like you need to understand is that
Expired
is that
product.
expired
Expired product
Yeah.
is
happens
so bad.
Yeah.
Blue Magic does not expire. Y'all still have your original Blue Magic tub, don't you?
I think
And
we
it's
do.
not even empty. It's not empty.
It's not empty. And I don't think that ever expires. It's a petroleum. in it.
Yeah.
I love it.
But like, get away from petroleum bases too. It's like the stuff that we put in our
So
hair.
for me, like for us, we don't use petrolatum, like mineral oil, in our products, because there are other alternatives that you can use. But yes, of course, if it's something has petrolatum, it's not gonna really expire.
Yeah, exactly.
Oil. I mean, oils don't expire, but they get rancid, right? So if that is
Yes.
once we want to, they will not go moldy and you to and so on, because there's no water in them, right? They won't go moldy and stuff like that, but they will smell rancid, right? So that is one way that you know that okay, this is getting off. So how do you extend the shelf life? So as Mish is saying, you got to look at the preservatives that goes into the product as well, right? There are good preservatives, there are not so good preservatives, and you look at them and say, okay, and then you look at the percentage too to say, okay, what percentage of this ingredient? And then yes, that is another thing. Sometimes people list on the bottles, you find, oh, it has shea butter, it has cocoa butter, it has coconut, and you're like, oh good, but what percentage of cocoa butter, what percentage
Yeah,
of coconut
exactly
oil
like that, but
is in the product, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's 0.001%, right?
Yeah.
So
well,
and,
well,
and so
just,
when someone like Mitch or Claire or anyone that wants to maybe do their own brand of products, like come to somebody like me,
yes,
what I would
good
say
segue.
is
I
you
was going
want
to
to
talk about
market the
that.
product, for instance. What percentage do you want? So I give you that opportunity to say, I want 10% of coconut oil. I want 15% of, cocoa butter. I want this, I want that, I want that. We can actually customize it to what you want. And your customer may have to pay a little bit more than the company that gives them 0.1% of these good items and that good ingredient. But at the end of the day, they're getting value, right? They're getting
Yes.
good value for their
Yep.
money. So
Absolutely. And just it's a good segue because we are going to be creating our own Uplift Black products.
Yay!
So I know. So it's a good plug right now for us to talk a little bit about Uplift Black in our future. And why we're talking about black hair, is because it's really important right now in our community to be more inclusive. And Uplift Black is starting an entire project to create an entire learning series for how to deal with ethnic black hair, for stylists, for educators, for parents of black youth who may not know how to actually take care, and for yourself, for you to learn a little bit more about taking care of black hair. It will be an entire learning program that we're designing, but we can't do it without you. We do need your support. So you need to, we are a complete and total not-for-profit organization working to service our communities. And we would love for you to visit upliftblack.org and make a donation so that we can create this program and have it available for stylists in our community, for members of our community who need this education, and for help us to create healthy, sustainable products so that we can be servicing the entire community here, whether we are stylists, with Claire in the community, she's able to offer, products, and we're going to assist with that as well. So thank you so much, Laundry, for coming and talking to us about your all natural products. We can't wait to work with you to create Uplift Black hair products.
thank you. And we're here to support you. Thank you so much for me. And it's so nice to meet everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you
a
very
wonderful
much.
day.
Thank you.
Take care. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
And I think it might be obvious that this needs to happen again.
I know, right?
Because I feel like we barely even scratched the surface.
Yeah, there's so much more that we need to talk about.
I
for
know,
sure.
and I mean, like
And like the chemistry.
Yeah, and I think
Right?
that's in general. I mean, we talk about here, but we can pretty much talk about anything. One thing that I really wanted to also mention, what is really important to Uplift Black is you being, holistically inclusive in everything that we do, and why we partner with certain people. There's a reason. What I've always loved about Mitchell, aka Justine Diaz, is that Mitchell's always been, is always forever learning and growing as an individual, and working to be a better ally to the Black community. And I appreciate that,
Thank
and I
you.
love that your perspective as an educator and as a hairstylist. So thank you for coming on.
Thank
and
you for
talking
having
to
me. I
us.
really do appreciate it. And for me to
Absolutely.
be on this platform is actually very humbling for me because it is also educating me at the same time too. So I'm
Absolutely.
very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. And also to Claire, what I love about Claire is and how I heard about Claire is that Claire, being part of the queer community here, there are a lot of our trans, sisters who are looking to, to get wigs and stuff, to look more, to have their expression more feel like how they feel on the inside. And they've always talked highly about Claire and about how welcoming Claire's beauty supply store is to them. And that's something that we need to value. Claire is a business owner in our community who has been owned a business in Barrie since 2011. Go and check out their store. They have incredible products, not just for ethnic Black hair. There's a lot, for everyone. And go support a local business that is who's actually walking the walk and talking the talk, right? And supporting their communities in all the ways to make sure everybody feels safe and welcoming. So thank you, Claire, for being that for our community. And you're an inspiration.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you guys.
And obviously to my sis Courtney, who has really come into my life and helped me love myself a little bit more as well. Always forever just growing and has helped grow Uplift Black to what it is today. And all of this is us dreaming for a better community for everyone. So if you love what we're doing with Uplift Black, please get out and support us, because we cannot do it without the community. We wouldn't have the show without the City of Barrie and that partnership. So thank you to Amanda Dyke and everybody who constantly supports Uplift Black since we've started.
If you want to see this again, support.
Yeah. Our web series in general, our web series is completely community supported in order for us to keep sharing these stories and having these conversations. So with that, I think we'll wrap up. Anybody have anything else to say?
No, I just can't wait to sit down and discuss again.
And I
definitely.
want to acknowledge you. Thanks for bringing this together and reaching out to
Shelly.
the community to pull this,
thank
make it
you,
important.
Shelly.
And I'm so happy and proud that, one, you're rocking braids for the first time in your life. That's amazing. And two, to be on this journey. So thank you. Thank yourself as well, not just us.
Wonderful. And to MTAV for always being a community supporter and creating incredible production and creating this for us so that we can, even though we're during COVID times and we have to social distance and we're not able to get together in the settings, be able to provide this programming and provide this service to our community so we can still make an impact. So thank you to MTAV, Karen and Bonds, and the entire crew.
Thank
All
you.
right. Till next time, we are Shelly,
Courtney,
Mitchell,
Claire.
and thank you. Welcome to Uplift Black.
share, show up, support.
Yes.
Share, support, show up. There we go.
That's it. All right. Bye, everyone.
Have a great day. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.